It was a typical Saturday night at Riverside General Hospital in Southern California. The emergency room was busy, but followed its usual rhythm of sirens and hushed voices. That rhythm was shattered at 8:15 in the evening when an ambulance pulled up to the bay. Inside the ambulance was 31-year-old Gloria Ramirez. She was a mother of two who had been battling late-stage cervical cancer. On this night, her condition had taken a turn for the worse. She was suffering from severe heart palpitations and had great difficulty catching her breath. The medical team rushed her into Trauma Room 1 to stabilize her. They followed standard procedures for a patient in respiratory distress. They administered fast-acting sedatives and heart medications to get her vitals under control. Despite their best efforts, Gloria remained highly agitated and confused. The doctors decided they needed more information about her internal chemistry. A nurse named Susan Kane stepped forward to draw Gloria's blood. As soon as the needle entered the vein, the atmosphere in the room changed completely. A strange, sharp odor began to fill the air around the bed. It was a chemical smell that hit the back of the throat like ammonia or bleach. Susan Kane noticed something even more unusual about the blood filling the syringe. It looked oily and contained tiny, manila-colored crystals floating in the liquid. She had never seen anything like it in all her years of nursing. Moments later, Susan Kane began to feel a wave of intense heat wash over her face. Her vision started to blur, and she felt a sense of deep confusion. She stepped away from the gurney to get some air, but only made it a few steps. Before she could reach the door, she collapsed onto the floor. While colleagues rushed to help Susan, a resident doctor named Julie Gerchinsky took over. She also noticed the strange, garlic-like smell coming from the blood sample. Within seconds, she began to feel the same symptoms as the nurse. Her breathing became shallow and her muscles began to twitch uncontrollably. Julie Gerchinsky was the next to fall, losing consciousness right beside the patient. A third person, a respiratory therapist named Maureen Welch, was the next to be affected. She felt a burning sensation in her eyes and felt her limbs grow heavy and numb. The emergency room was quickly turning into a scene of pure terror. Panic began to spread through the hospital as more staff members reported feeling ill. People were clutching their chests and gasping for air in the hallways. The hospital administration realized they were facing an unknown biological or chemical threat. They made the difficult decision to declare a formal internal disaster. The order was given to evacuate the entire emergency department immediately. Patients who could move were ushered into the parking lot under the night sky. Those who were too sick to walk were rolled out on their gurneys. Doctors and nurses set up a makeshift treatment area on the cold pavement. A small team of doctors stayed behind in the contaminated room to fight for Gloria's life. They wore masks and protective gear, but the environment was still dangerous. Despite 45 minutes of intensive life-saving efforts, Gloria Ramirez passed away. Her body was sealed in a specialized airtight bag to prevent further exposure. By the end of the night, 23 staff members had fallen ill. 5 of them required hospitalization for symptoms ranging from tremors to shortness of breath. Julie Gerchinsky's condition was the most severe of all the survivors. She spent 2 weeks in intensive care and developed a rare bone condition from the exposure. State health officials arrived shortly after to begin a massive investigation. They checked the hospital's ventilation system for leaks and tested the cleaning supplies. They looked for toxic gases or hidden chemical spills that might explain the event. Every test they ran on the building itself came back completely normal. The focus then shifted to the body of Gloria Ramirez. Forensic experts performed an autopsy inside a high-security lab wearing full hazmat suits. They found the same mysterious crystals in her heart and lungs that the nurse had seen. However, the initial toxicology reports didn't show any common poisons or illegal drugs. This lack of evidence led some officials to propose a controversial theory. They suggested that the entire event was a case of mass sociogenic illness. This is essentially a form of mass hysteria triggered by stress and a strange smell. They argued that the staff had simply imagined their symptoms after seeing their colleagues collapse. The medical staff at Riverside General was insulted by this explanation. They pointed to the physical damage suffered by Julie Gurchinsky and others. You cannot imagine your way into a 2-week stay in the intensive care unit. They were certain that something physical and toxic had come out of Gloria's body. Years later, a new theory emerged from the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. Scientists suggested that Gloria had been using a home remedy for her cancer pain. They believed she was using a substance called dimethyl sulfoxide, or DMSO. This is a common degreaser that some people use as a topical pain cream. The theory suggests that the DMSO built up in her system due to kidney failure. When the paramedics gave her oxygen, it may have turned the DMSO into dimethyl sulfone. This substance can crystallize at room temperature, explaining the white flakes in her blood. But the most dangerous part of the reaction was yet to come. When the doctors used a defibrillator to shock her heart, the electricity might have caused another change. It could have converted the chemicals into dimethyl sulfate. This is a highly toxic gas used in chemical warfare that causes symptoms exactly like those seen in the ear. It causes tremors, fainting, and long-term tissue damage. While this theory is the most scientific explanation available, it has never been proven. Some experts say the chemical reactions required are nearly impossible to achieve inside a human body. Others believe the hospital was hiding something else entirely. There were rumors of a secret lab inside the hospital that may have leaked a different chemical. The family of Gloria Ramirez never accepted the official explanations given by the state. They felt the hospital had made a mistake and was using the toxic lady's story as a cover-up. To this day, the true nature of what happened in Trauma Room 1 remains a mystery. It stands as one of the most bizarre medical anomalies in American history. We may never know if Gloria Ramirez was a victim of a rare chemical reaction or something more sinister. The event serves as a haunting reminder of how little we truly understand about the human body. Sometimes, the most terrifying monsters are the ones that are created by accident in the dark. The truth died with Gloria that night, leaving behind a story that still chills the medical community to its core.